Morning, everybody. Welcome to today's 1 Million by 1 Million Strategy Roundtable for Entrepreneurs. We have a room full of people at Innovation Pavilion in Denver, Colorado today, and you will meet them in course of the morning today. First, you know the mission of 1 Million by 1 Million is to help 1 million entrepreneurs reach $1 million in annual revenue by 2020, thereby creating 10 million jobs and building $1 trillion in global GDP. And the only way that is going to happen is if everybody in the room today, both virtually and physically, become successful entrepreneurs building at least $1 million businesses. So there's no pressure at all. This is our 132nd 1M1M Roundtable. And we are delighted to co-host the session with Innovation Pavilion in Denver, Colorado. And a number of the organizers are in the room. Micah, who's going to be emceeing the session on your end at the Innovation Pavilion room, and Vic are from the organizers there. And of course, on our side, there's Maureen, who's been coordinating the call so far, and I will be anchoring it through the session. The roundtable recording will be available for any of you to refer to later on or share with your friends. If you're live tweeting the show, which we often see people doing, please use the hashtag 1M1M. If you're following along, our two Twitter handles are at 1M by 1M and at Sramana. You will see some live tweeting happening from there. If you need to connect with us, do so using those handles. The first presenter today is Happy Freebie. Ben Bui is going to be the presenter. If you could please come to the microphone up front in the Denver room, Ben, that would be wonderful. And while Ben is getting started, folks, all of you who are in the room, in the virtual room, or if you are connected into WebEx from your computers in Denver, you can also use the public chat to chat with people all over the world. There are actually, I know that there are people in the room from Spain, from various parts of the world, and you will see that if you open up the public chat on your screen, you will see people saying, introducing themselves. And I think Micah also, before Ben goes online, Micah would like to introduce Innovation Pavilion a bit. So Micah, why don't I hand the microphone over to you, and please go ahead.
Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you for everyone here in the room for being here. The Innovation Pavilion is obviously a very exciting project here in Denver. And when I met Vic for the first time, who is the founder of IT, he told me about Sramana's 1 Million by 1 Million program. And the context of the conversation was, lots of entrepreneurs are looking for funding, but is that necessarily what we should be doing? Is there a way to build businesses that are truly successful because we have customers and we have revenue versus, lots of publicity about investment that we receive? So that really excited me, and we're really happy to be partnering with 1 Million by 1 Million for that reason, because the values there are so aligned. So thank you, Sramana, for having us and allowing our, wonderful entrepreneurs here in Colorado to be with you on the call today.
Awesome, Micah. If you could have, as you have the entrepreneurs come up to present, if you could have them use the phone handset a bit, that would be awesome, because your voice is still coming muffled.
Okay, that sounds good. The only problem is that when we use the handset, nobody else can hear you.
Nobody else can hear me.
Is that better?
It is better, yes. All right, well, we'll need to get started with Ben. You have a number of presenters, so go ahead. Are you ready, Ben? Uh-oh. Technical difficulties. While they're reconnecting, Maureen, I hope you can sort this out behind the scenes. Folks,
Hi, Sramana. We're back on the call now.
Okay, awesome.
So,
and you sound perfect. You sound absolutely perfect.
So this is when we're on the call, but nobody else in the room can hear you right now when you speak.
Oh, really?
When I have the phone to my head.
Micah, I suggest you take the phone off the hook and put a microphone next to it, because it picks up the voice fine. I don't know if you could all hear then, but that's my suggestion, if you have a microphone in the room.
Okay. Okay, so we'll bring on the first presenter then, Ben Bowie from Happy Freebie.
Well, then I wouldn't be able to hear. Hello.
Hello?
That doesn't work. I think if nobody else can hear us, that doesn't work.
All right, can you hear me? I'll talk loud.
That's good. That's better. Go ahead, Ben.
All right, so my name is Ben. I'm from Boulder, the CEO of Happy Freebie, and we can go to the next slide, but I appreciate your time. So Happy Freebie is what I call an engagement platform. On the left, you start with cool products, which there's a lot of them out there, and the first mechanism of engagement is entering to win. This is a growing trend online. A lot of our target market is entering to win different contests all over the web. And entering to win is an extremely good way to get someone to take a first glance at your product, at a physical product. The next way we engage customers is through a 40% off discount, and this kind of breaks the barrier of trying a product. And then the last is through loyalty. Every time customers do what we want, when they enter to win, when they buy at a discount, or when they do other things socially, they build up points, and those points get them more entries to win, better discounts, and in the end, something free. So it's kind of this loop we try to create so that the customer can go through each one of these steps and continue to do that for a long period of time, create value for themselves and for merchants. So next slide.
So before you go to the next slide, I don't know about the rest of the people in the room. I did not get it.
Okay. So it's essentially 3 engagement mechanisms. They can win, they can save, and they can play. The more points they get, the more they can win, the more they can save, and in the end they get something free. So it's essentially it's kind of a daily site. We send out emails, we give customers these valuable propositions, and then that creates value for them and for merchants who have cool products.
So you are basically working with merchants who want to promote products, and you're creating games around that, or contests, or promotions.
Yeah, I mean, they can enter to win, or they can just buy at a discount, or as they do that, they build up points, which help them do both of those better and get free stuff in the end.
And why would they do it at your site as opposed to doing it on their own sites?
Well, so we bring the products to them. So we're a source for cool new products for moms, as the value proposition says. We're giving mom cool new products coupled with giveaways, discounts, and loyalty points. So that's one of our customers is moms, and the other is merchants. We engage moms with their products through entries to win and entice them to try new products with discounts.
And who ships the products?
The merchant does. So we're kind of we're just the middleman essentially.
Okay. There are all sorts of logistical issues with that. Okay, keep going.
So next slide.
All right, so we're targeting moms. This is kind of a breakdown. There's 34 million moms in America, in the U.S. There's 30 million online. We drill it down to what we call the internet savvy mom, which is they read blogs, they're on social media. There's about 12 million of them in the U.S. This target is really enticing for us because 90% of moms are online, 70% buy online, 50% use a smartphone. 54% are deal hunting more this year than they were last year. That's according to an eMarketer survey. And 56% are influenced by testimonials, which we'll have built into the site.
Yep, moms is a very good category. They're probably one of the most active shoppers online. So category-wise, segmentation-wise, it's fine.
All right, so our marketing plan essentially is be viral. Now, I'm not saying we're going to go viral. I'm just saying we're trying to implement every piece of possible virality into the site. When you enter to win, you can enter to win by sharing or liking a page. When you win, we make it easy to share, and we incentivize people to share happy freebies. So that's the first. The second is a group of what I call internet influencers. We call them VIBs, and they will recommend products, review products, and just kind of be thought leaders among the giveaway space. And then the last is cultivate relationships with blogs. Now, being that virality is important for us, to kind of start the viral loop, we've done some testing. We've found that our AdWords acquisition cost is about $6. Our Facebook acquisition cost is about $11. Both of those numbers are really good because we figure that the value of each customer we acquire is about $25 over their lifetime. That could be wrong, but it's based on expert opinion, and that's the best we have so far.
But it's very expensive to run these campaigns. If each customer costs you, $6.57 or $11.84, the marketing cost of this venture is immense.
So, do you know anything about maybe the value of a Groupon customer or something like that, where the value of an online subscriber? What my thinking is if the value is $25 and it costs us $6.
Not the point. That's not my point. The point is you're going to have to get this business off the ground. And unless you have a lot of personal funds with which you can do that, nobody is going to write you a check to run those ads to finance this marketing campaign. That's my point.
So if I went to an investor and said, look, our value is $25 per customer, our acquisition cost is $6, that's a...
Nobody's going to give you the money to run those ads.
Okay. Well, we're working on lowering that a lot. We're actually doing some in-Facebook stuff, so that's just our initial test right now. I think it's actually a lot lower. And these are my questions for you. Ideas for subscriber acquisition, which is kind of what we're talking about. Ideas to build trust among potential subscribers, and ideas for strategic partners.
So I think the part of the problem you have here is the bootstrapping issue, and it's going to have to be done with guerrilla marketing, essentially. A company that gets going at the very beginning cannot expect somebody to write a check without any validation. Today it's a concept, right? It's not a business yet. And we are at a time in history where investors do not fund concepts anymore. They fund businesses with traction. So how are you going to get from zero to a business with traction without depending on external financing is something that you have to sort out. And there are lots of ideas for subscriber acquisition, a lot of guerrilla ideas, and that's how businesses are getting built today. Most of the businesses that are developing subscriber bases are doing so by guerrilla marketing means, and it's a very long discussion to teach you all the methods of guerrilla marketing right now, but that's something we do in 1M1M. One of them is guerrilla PR, but social media marketing works very well. There are specific mechanics and details of social media marketing that you'll need to learn. And building trust among potential subscribers, Ben, I think you're going to have to do that by working with credible merchants and credible products, interesting products, exciting products, and merchants who are going to be willing to do this kind of shipping for you. So remember, when you were starting this presentation on your first slide, I said there are some logistical and operational issues here. So that's a question I will give you back, is have you sorted out how the delivery and fulfillment of the promise is going to happen? Let's say you sell somebody's product on your site. What is the, you need to close the loop that somebody is going to fulfill what the customer bought.
So the merchant can manage their giveaway. They can download the addresses of all the orders that have happened and then ship them out. Customers can submit requests, like if they didn't get the product, or they can request a refund on our platform, and that information is transferred to the merchant. So we'll have an API in the future, but right now it's the merchant manages their product through our back end. They can download and fulfill their orders that way. All
right. Okay, well, our time with you is up, Ben. We're going to have to move to the next presenter. Thank you for sharing your idea. The next presenter is Kelly Peterson. And Kelly, before you get started, can you go a little closer to the speaker? So, because the audience is complaining that they cannot hear anything. The online audience cannot hear very well. So can you give me an audio test, please?
Testing, is this better?
Can you hear better? Audience, virtual audience in the public chat, can you give me a read of how you're hearing Kelly? Oh, let's get going. We don't have a lot of time we have 5 more presenters, so we need to get.
Oh, is this good?
No, now you've moved away again.
Okay. I guess we'll have to keep it where it's at.
That's better. When you were speaking into the speaker, it was better, and I assume that the room can hear you, right? The Innovation Pavilion room can hear you?
Yes, everybody can.
Okay. All right, let's get going.
Good morning, and thank you for the opportunity to kind of talk about Review Rocket. And Review Rocket is really based around a simple question that revolves around the growing popularity of online sites such as Yelp and Angie's List. Don't merchants want to have as many customer reviews as possible? It's positive for them. Everyone's turning to the internet, and they're doing the research prior to making any type of purchase. And we understand there's quite a few word-of-mouth companies out there, but they mainly focus on the national CPG companies, such as a L'Oreal or your big brands, and there's really nobody focusing on the local level. And when we talk about mystery shoppers, they go to one point. They push a consumer through the front door, they get the feedback, but they keep it internal. There's other companies that will take a post-customer purchase and have them really promote the testimonial for the company. But there's really not a player that does everything from A to Z. And that's really where we came in as Mystery Shopper Goes Social. So what exactly is Review Rocket? It's really an online feedback sharing application. So we leverage social influence from the consumer, who's an opt-in, and engage potential customers for a local merchant from technically their friends. So we do this distribution through Facebook, Twitter. We can also have them promote on third-party sites. And
before you go on, let me clarify if, I'm going to assume that since I didn't fully get it, the audience may also have questions about the concept. So this is not Yelp, obviously. Yelp does reviews about local merchants on their site. So can you take Yelp as the anchor comparable and tell us how you're different from Yelp?
We don't compete against Yelp. We actually use them as a distribution channel. So we push opt-in consumers through a local merchant. They gather feedback. We provide that to the business owner. And then the consumer also promotes that experience on the different distribution channels such as Facebook, Twitter. They can go out and promote it on Yelp, Urban Spoon, Google Places. So we actually use them. We don't compete up against them.
So, so if I'm a merchant, what am I doing to, let's say your platform is distributing the reviews to these different platforms?
Correct. So we're pushing in a new customer to give them feedback about their business, and then also to promote their business online. And
what is your assumption? Is this happening when somebody comes into the store or the restaurant or the salon? What is the usage model you're assuming?
Yeah, so that's one thing that we're building, an opt-in consumer database, very similar to the mystery shoppers, where they have their users, and then we incentivize the consumer with cash to go out and do the review and promote their experience.
I see. So you are creating kind of a semi-professional reviewer database, and then you're incentivizing that database to go out and review different local merchants, and then you're going to distribute those reviews all across social media.
Correct.
All right. Got it. Keep going.
Okay. So we have we really have two customers, one being the service merchant and the other being consumer. From a service standpoint, we're really focusing on restaurants right now, and that's because the majority of people are going to these sites and want to hear recommendations when they're in a new city of where to go out and eat. In the future, we can really target any service-oriented market, and we're technically going to go after anybody that currently has like mystery shopping services, because we're a little bit we're cheaper than the current one. So there's several big ones in Denver, the big mystery shoppers that require quite a lot up front, where we've got a per review dollar amount that a local merchant can pay. And from the
is this something that you're going to get into trouble with Yelp? For instance, if Yelp realizes that these are all paid reviewers, Yelp is going to say this takes away the objectivity of the review. And same with Urban Spoon and everybody else, Zagat and everybody else.
And completely understand your point, and we've talked to the FTC, is that difference between what's a paid advertisement and what we're trying to do with the mystery shopper aspect is this is authentic feedback. You know, whether it's a 1, whether it's a 5, you're still getting the feedback. Now, they might just go out and promote the 4 and 5 stars. It's really up to the merchant, but we're giving feedback. We're not saying you have to give a 4, you have to give a 5 to get a free meal. That can kind of get us in trouble with the FTC. But that's also why we're doing the Facebook integration, the Twitter integration, because the merchants own these pages and can really publicize anything that they want. Yes, there might be a time where Yelp says no, and we're kind of putting in a backup plan for that.
If you can prove that these are objective reviews and just because they're paid doesn't mean they're biased, then that would be, I think that may be interesting. So I would, by the way, in your presentation here, I would call what you call consumers, you should call them reviewers, because really what you are doing here is outsourcing the reviewing process for a merchant. And that actually is very, very valuable. And this is not just true for local merchants. It's also true for books. It's also true for a lot of, any product that depends on being reviewed. Just managing the review process is extremely complicated. And if you can create a pool of reviewers, like Amazon has a pool of, I can't remember what they're called. I used to know this, but they have a group of people who are avid reviewers, and they offer books to these avid reviewers to review. And so I think there is precedence of the concept that you're proposing, and I think it's a good concept, and it's something of huge value to people who are trying to promote something.
Oh, thank you. And really, what we're trying to do now is just kind of get our name out there. And from a service merchant standpoint, we're doing telemarketing. From an acquisition standpoint, I'm having difficulty explaining the value concept over the phone. So really, it's setting appointments and then doing a door-to-door sale. We have a lot of PR marketing tactics that we'd like to use in the future, and we're just getting into that right now. The website just launched in April.
I think one thing you could do is to just pick up, merchants from Yelp who do not have a lot of reviews. Maybe they're new stores or new. By the way, this concept doesn't have to be a local concept, actually.
No,
in any case, so there's some segmentation issues that can be dealt with. But in any case, let's say you take the use case of Yelp, and you can go to Yelp and look up merchants who don't have a lot of reviews and call them up and say, hey, I saw on Yelp you have only 3 reviews. Why don't you work? I'd be happy to work with you, and we can increase your reviews from 3 to 23. Would you like to work with us? I'm sure they'd be interested. You don't need to explain much more.
Okay, great suggestion.
Okay. Next presenter.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Kim Bishop, Ant Farm Ventures.
Good morning, Sramana.
Good morning, Kim.
My name is Kim Bishop. I'm one of the co-founders of Ant Farm Ventures. We have a project called Spats.com. The idea of Spats.com is that 2 friends can engage in a dispute resolution where they each present a short video, 30 seconds long, that presents their side of the argument. They then invite all of their social network friends to log on, view both videos, and then vote on who makes the more compelling argument. In between the 2 videos is a 15-second commercial. So each time somebody comes and watches those videos, they'll see a 30-second argument, they'll see a 15-second commercial, and then they'll see the second argument. And at that point, they're given one opportunity to vote on the more compelling argument.
Okay.
We originally set this up with the idea that we would simply be using commercials and display ads that we were getting from ad servers. We quickly came to the realization that monetizing in that manner was not going to be very effective. We simply were not going to be able to generate enough revenue to make it worthwhile. So what we've switched over to now is a sponsor model. And to put it in the context of traditional television, it's the difference between an advertiser buying a spot commercial and somebody who's actually sponsoring a program. Because we've got the potential of literally hundreds of different verticals, and a vertical might be college football as opposed to professional football. It might be Dancing with the Stars versus one of the talent programs. So each one of those represents a different vertical. Sponsors that specifically are trying to reach the audiences that respond to those particular verticals should have an interest in working with us and sponsoring those verticals. The problem that we're running into at this point is we've got 3 different types of customers. We've got our end user, that's the person that is either creating the spat or the person who's viewing the spat. And we've got methods that we're currently using and we're testing to make sure that those are going to be effective in getting us where we want to be. We also have a white label version, provides all of the functionality that our consumer version does, but it would be used by political campaigns, it might be used by existing bloggers, local television stations have expressed an interest, so that's yet another market. And we have got plans in place to pursue those markets. My challenge today is related to those sponsors. We need to have the sponsors involved from day one. Viewing the commercial is an integral part of the user experience. And without that, anything that we launch with is going to be a compromise of that ultimate experience. So my challenge is getting the sponsors who will work with us, put their messages in there with the recognition that from day one I'm going to have relatively modest traffic, some days maybe no traffic, until this thing gets some traction and it becomes more valuable for the users and our user base expands. The thing that we're running into is that as a startup, we're trying to keep our costs low, so we're trying to focus on local Colorado companies, but because of the nature of what we're doing, this thing has the potential to have an organic expansion that will quickly take it beyond the Colorado market. So I need sponsors that not only are local so I can talk to them, but also are national in terms of their marketing presence, so that as those messages are viewed around the country, they'll have relevance for the viewers. What we're running into right now is
Tim, just a second. Let me give you some feedback here. First and foremost, your observation is absolutely correct. Ad-supported business models are just not sufficient to build businesses on, especially these small content businesses, media businesses. It's just not viable to build that with ad-supported businesses. So, you know, the route that I would go is I would position this as kind of almost like a creative service for the ad agencies that are dealing with political campaigns. Right now, political campaigns are happening a lot, and there's a lot of digital political campaigns that are happening as well. So you could become a service provider to these political campaigns where you coordinate these debates and you know, basically produce, so to speak, these debates, and then with the help of the advertising agency, essentially the advertising agency can do deals with the various bloggers and media properties, the Politicos and the Huffington Post and whatever, to actually market these debates, or YouTube, market these debates on YouTube. But I think your business model needs to be producing content or somebody else who has the budget to pay for content production. Everything else that you're talking about is business model-wise unviable.
The challenge we're running into with that is that for the larger campaigns, they want to see a track record. For the smaller campaigns, they got no money. So we are in that place where the people who are interested in talking to us aren't in a position to pay us. And the people who are in a position to pay us aren't interested in talking to us.
So this is always a chicken and egg. You do a few projects without charging and create track record and referenceable customers, and then take those and show them to the larger campaigns who do have budget. This is how startups mitigate chicken and egg. You know, this is kind of from the beginning of time, this is how we have been managing the chicken and egg in startups.
Okay, I understand what you're saying. The other concern I've got in that respect is simply a matter of time. That here we are at the end of June, elections are coming up in November. If it takes me 90 days to demonstrate viability with a smaller campaign that's not paying.
Yeah, but that's only the presidential election. There's lots of other elections that happen throughout the year and throughout the 4 years. This is not the last election. The presidential campaign is only one election. There's going to be tons of elections, local elections. This is, in fact, really creating a good database of who are the advertising agencies, marketing agencies that are working on digital marketing campaigns for politicians all around the country. That's something that you're going to have to do so that you have a constant flow of business. If your business is going to have only come every 4 years, that's not a good business.
Right, right. And that's why that was not our only model. We're also looking at both the white label and the consumer versions.
Yeah, but I don't recommend going and doing 5 different things. That's not how businesses succeed. You have to focus and pick one thing to do, and I think I just gave you the logic of what to do with the core concept that you're working with.
Okay.
All right?
I appreciate the input. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, next is Crystal Clear RX. Tim Thomas, Tim Humphreys, Peter Shepard. Who is presenting?
Hello, Tim Thomas.
All right, Tim, please go ahead.
Well, thank you for the opportunity. I want to show you how a small company has an opportunity right now to grow into a large company by providing software and services to clients that really need it.
Okay.
We started out as a company offering services into an industry, the pharmacy benefit industry, is very complex. From the point a patient walks into a pharmacy to get a prescription to the point that they are paid for by some entity. There are many moving parts, and that is usually managed by companies called PBMs, or pharmacy benefit management companies. What we do is we demystify the cloudiness around the contracts and around the business that goes along with that, because most purchasers do not have the knowledge level to be able to negotiate good contracts, and they're giving away or losing money because they don't have that knowledge. In the short time that we've been founded, since we were founded, we've obtained 15 customers already, including a Fortune 15 company. We are generating cash and to the point of break even.
Wonderful.
And we're looking for initial capital to put into sales and marketing to expand the operations.
Okay. Now, can you explain the concept a bit better? What is the value proposition? Is that in your next slide, maybe?
Yes, it is somewhat. In essence, these customers buy services from these PBMs to get their members or their patients to get prescriptions filled. Because of the complexity of the process, pricing can be manipulated by the PBMs. A generic can range from 5 cents a pill to $10 a pill. If you don't have it defined in the contract, you don't know what you're paying for. PBMs can move a generic drug into a brand bucket and be classified that way. So there's many places where pricing is usually based on what's called AWP, or average wholesale price, or really ain't what's paid. And again, with all the pricing manipulations that can occur, an uneducated purchaser can wind up costing themselves lots of money.
Okay.
So the value proposition that we found was initially as more of a professional services model. We help identify these things, and we've saved, for example, one customer $5 million a year off their pharmacy costs by helping them identify these trends and problems. But what we realized was the way to really get value out of this market is to develop software that can repeat the process much more efficiently, much more quickly, and can expand to a lot more customers. And that's what we've done, is we've developed a series of software products that we can now offer these, not only for our own use to help consulting or help professional services with these clients, but the clients themselves actually can use some of the software. And we believe there's over 20,000 companies, probably representing 70% of the U.S. population, that could take advantage of it.
Okay, so let me try to understand the usage model of how you're delivering this value. If I'm a corporation, let's say, a Fortune 50 corporation or a Fortune 500 corporation, whatever, I will roll out your software as a service into my system, and
your HR, the human resources department or your CFO would contract with us, and we would help you with the negotiations and relationship you have with the PBM who is supplying those services to you. Because of our software and our expertise, you will negotiate a better contract with that PBM, saving you money, and the patients will also benefit.
Okay, got it. So it's not something that the customer gets, the employees get involved in. It's the policy setting and the contract negotiation that you are helping them with.
That is exactly correct.
Perfect. Okay. And what is the revenue level right now across the 15 customers that you have been able to close?
We're around $300,000 a year right now in revenue. Usually it's sold on a subscription service. We're still rolling out a new product that's going to be getting additional customers. We suspect will be somewhere close to $1 million next year in revenue.
And what does that tell you based on your experience selling today? How much money do you make per customer?
Well, right now, as I said, we're breaking even with our costs, but a lot of our costs have gone into the IT development and the software to this point.
No, that's not my question. My question is, what is the average deal size per customer?
The average deal size is around $100,000 to $150,000 per customer.
Per customer per year?
Annually, yes.
Per customer per year?
Correct.
Okay. All right. Got it. Okay. Keep going, please.
So what we do, again, is we would find a company. Here's an example of a company with 1,000 employees. They typically would spend about $3 million a year on the pharmacy expenditures. A smaller company like this, we would be able to save them close to $500,000 per year. just in the processes that you can see on the screen. Again, it's a series of knowledge base. We have experts in the industry who know where all the processes occur that can be bad for the customer. We identify those, we educate the customer, and we build a process that allows them to get that money. But that's not where our company value is really going to lie. Our company value is going to lie in that last piece there that's marked as data. Because through the processes we've developed, through the client interaction we have, we're building a data warehouse that has information that is not available in the industry right now. When that becomes online, that's when our true value is going to be realized.
Okay. So if it's I think the reason I was asking you about the deal size question is that determines your TAM analysis, the total available market sizing analysis model. I don't know if you have a TAM analysis here. It looks like you have some.
We have done that, and that's why we've identified 18,000 different organizations that could be targeted.
You've determined 18,000 different organizations that need this product?
Well, there's 18,000 companies of greater than 1,000 employees, 1,000 lives. There's many others, government agencies. Healthcare reform is going to be an issue here, and probably increasing the value of our service. But what we've done is and why we're looking for investment funding is we know this product works. We can sell it when we get the opportunity, but we need to increase the sales and marketing, and we need to increase the IT development, which is why we're searching for funding.
Okay. All right. I think you can raise funding for this. I have to look at it in more detail, your TAM model and so forth. I think it sounds like you have, you have a decent level of validation. So this is the kind of business that is likely to get funded, and I'll be happy to, help you with that if that's something you're looking for help with.
Okay. Thank you very much for your time.
You're welcome. All right. Chris Simoneux. How do you say your name?
Simoneux.
Simoneux?
French.
All right. French.
Hi, Sramana. Should I get started?
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay, very good. Thank you for allowing me to present. I'm Chris Simoneux, CEO and co-founder of iBert Systems. And we can jump to the next slide. We make a hardware product. It's a test and instrumentation product. It's called a BERT, a bit error rate tester, and it's used to test and verify high-speed communications components and devices or products. Our product operates at very high speeds. It's leading edge speeds down to 1 gigabit per second, but up to 28 gigabits per second, and that corresponds with very high-speed leading edge standards out in the communications industry. Our target application is the higher end of the communications industry for production screening and test, okay? And our two main use cases are those who buy BERTs, or I guess customer bases, are those who currently buy BERTs and those who can't afford a BERT and build their own BERT using SerDes or serializer deserializer ICs, which is a fancy word for an IC that aggregates data into from many streams to one stream and back again, okay? So it's a very common product in the communications industry. Our customers are manufacturers of high-speed products, electronic and optical components, devices, subsystems, and equipment. So there's a very broad customer base out there for this product, and they all need it. They all need this product to test and verify their product either on the lab bench and in production line. Okay. Next slide. There we go. So what is our technology? First of all, it's the world's only 10 gigabit per second plus parallel BERT ASIC. So we use an ASIC that integrates all of the discrete circuitry and functionality of the existing BERTs into one ASIC. Very nice and cost-effective way to do a BERT. And we'll talk about in just a second
the value proposition and how that works. But this ASIC uses a core SerDes technology, serializer, deserializer technology, that's recognized as the fastest and highest performing SerDes core technology in the industry. So our ASIC vendor, we're about to close on the contract with this ASIC vendor to have an exclusive right to that product line, and they're recognized as the leader in SerDes market or SerDes industry. Very high signal fidelity. That's very important for testers because your signal fidelity has to be much better than the unit you're testing in order to validate it. And so the ASIC, since it eliminates a lot of the discrete circuits of traditional BERT, it inherently has a better, higher signal fidelity characteristics. Multi-channels, crazy number of channels on this thing, 15 BERT channels or 15 channels versus the maximum out there at these kind of data rates are 4. And the value proposition will show you how that can relate, how that can result in a very disruptive price point. And so the bottom line is we expect to trigger a major industry revolution or initiate this industry-wide design change toward an integrated architecture for the higher-end BERT applications. So stuff over 10 gigabits per second and up to 28, even pushing 30 gigabits per second, which is, again, leading edge for bit error rate testers and products out there in support of the communications industry. Okay? I might be going a little fast here if you have any questions. So what are we addressing? What's the market need and the dynamics out there? First of all, BERTs are very high cost. A BERT port, and we'll show on the next slide what it costs, but because of the prohibitive cost, BERT users are forced to either build their own, or forced to build their own BERT. They're also forced to share BERTs throughout an organization, which limits the use that the engineers can use it for to develop products, and also production lines use it for to get throughput. So it leads to insufficient number of test ports out there, and that's a major problem in the industry. And because the test station in a production line is where most, if not all, of the throughput problems occur in this space, in this industry. The production line needs to support multiple products. So if you're switching products on one production line, you don't want to have to switch out the test system or anything pertaining to the test part of the production line. There's just an inadequate, so here's the problem with people who go out and build their own BERTs. They don't have the right test and screening criteria out there to adequately do the test. Their customers suffer. Their quality suffers, and they're outputting product that is questionable. And at these kind of high speeds, it's very precarious to provide products out there. There's a lot of companies doing it, and they don't survive because the quality of the product and sometimes the throughput of the production line just doesn't support their needs. And also there's other things like could you go back 1 second? Yeah, so the bottom line is this is an extremely elastic market. There's a large untapped demand out there for a product that people can actually afford.
I have a question on that.
Yes.
When you say large untapped demand, have you done a bottom-up total available market size analysis of your business?
Absolutely. We've done a bottom-up and a top-down. I'm in the industry. I've been in the industry for a long time. I understand what users, yeah, so.
I actually know this industry as well because I did Logic Vision, which you're probably aware of since you've been in this industry.
Absolutely, yeah.
They were one of my clients, so I know all about credence and that whole space. So,
okay.
So
yeah.
going back to available market size analysis, what is your TAM analysis? Bottom up, not top down. I'm not interested in top down.
Okay, so if you go to the next slide, there we go. So the 2013 TAM is $125 million for the market segment that we're targeting. And this is, again, the production side, and it's the higher end side of the production BERT market segment, okay? And we break it down into, number one, the parallel production BERTs. So that's the guys who are buying BERTs in the market, paying a lot of money to internally design BERTs, which are the guys that buy the ICs, the ASIC, or the SerDes, and implement, design and build their own BERT, essentially, which is sometimes not a great effort because they find out they can't do the functionality required. And also the ATE market, which is a pretty sizable market for this product because they test high volume IC production. And then a very small part of the R&D market, which doesn't require the feature set that, say, a high-end R&D BERT would provide, okay? So the bottom line here is, this shows the value, both the TAM and the price advantage that we have versus everything out there. It's extremely substantial, and these are real numbers.
Okay. I'm going to just, in the interest of time, let's skip this. I think we understand that you are quite a domain expert in this area. I think we understand that technically it's a higher end product and so forth. So if you want to do the comparative landscape next quickly, and then we should go to your questions.
Okay, very good. So this is our competitors. There's not that many out there that can do this. It requires extremely high-end technology. None of the competitors can make a parallel BERT that's greater than 15, that operates at greater than 15 gigabits per second and more than 4 channels. So it's very unique that way in the entire BERT industry. It's also very unique in a couple of other functions that no BERT, R&D, or parallel or production BERT can provide. So what's the problem? Well, there's multiple stages in BERT technology that really generate very, very high cost, and also with that high profit margin. So the existing BERT industry really doesn't have incentive to transition to an ASIC for a couple reasons. Number one, they want to preserve their profit margins of the current BERT technology. There's not that many BERTs being sold out there that would, provide them incentive to go and redesign, integrate everything with an ASIC, and still meet their margin targets and their overall revenue targets.
So what is the cost structure of your product idea? If you were to do this in ASIC, what does it cost to build each of these systems, and what is the margin?
So we're going to be working at a 70 to 80% gross margin, and if you can go to the next slide, it talks a little bit about the financials. Actually, go to the next one. Yeah, so 70 to 80% gross margin, and with that we can break even, and this is with our conservative forecast, break even in mid-2013. We've done an NPV analysis, and we come out with a good NPV number at a 45 to 50% discount rate. And again, that's with a conservative forecast.
Okay, so let me give you some feedback on what's happening. I guess your questions are going to be around that funding. So why don't you go ahead and ask your questions? I think I can anticipate.
Okay, yeah. So you're right, exactly. So there's a VC environment out there that's focused a lot on software and network marketing. This is hardware, test and measurement. So what do you think of the prospects, the prognosis for that?
So part of the problem here is that the hardware VC market has almost dried up, and the issue here is exactly in the numbers that you presented. This 125 million TAM number that you presented as your 2013 TAM, it is not sufficient for VCs to be interested. VCs are looking for $500 million to $1 billion plus opportunities, and there are some VCs who will tell you they're looking for 10 billion plus opportunities. So you come in with a $125 million opportunity, and they get business plans that are, you know, billion plus TAM opportunities. They will always weigh in favor of the billion plus opportunity. Having said that, this is, as I said, you know, this is a space that I happen to know quite well. The thing to look for here is potentially corporate financing. You need to go talk to the test and the ATE vendors, basically the Credences and whatever. There's been a lot of mergers lately, Verity and Agilent and so forth, and see who is interested in this market and in your concept, and you know, turning a $4.5 million investment to break even, and being able to build a decent sized business out of a relatively small investment may actually be interesting to the corporation. So a strategic partnership like that, including a distribution deal, may be your best bet.
Okay, great, thank you.
You had any of those conversations?
We have not. This is literally the first public launch of our idea in our company. So we're just about to close on a contract with our ASIC vendor on buying that product line. So part of that $4.5 million is the acquisition cost of the product line.
I see. So the other option you have is to actually go sell your concept to the customers who are suffering from this problem and ask for advances. If you get enough advances from, you know, a set of customers who really are have a burning pain in this area, $4.5 million is not that much money given the kinds of problems these high-performance communication companies are facing.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
All right.
All right.
Okay. Next is Cleantricity Power. Okay. Daniel Sullivan, if you could please come up and tell us what you're doing.
Yes. Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm with Cleantricity Power. We're looking at an innovative design for small wind turbines. This is the inventor and one of the co-founders pictured here. He has a device hanging off the back of a pickup truck. The first thing you can see is it's a vertical axis turbine, so it spins like a merry-go-round. One of the blades is in a different position, and that gives you a hint of how this is different than some of the competitors. You're familiar with the idea that advancing these three key components in society, health, education, and economic development, that relies on power, clean and reliable power, even better. Half the world's population lives off the grid, and half again has no electricity at all. If you look at our product on the next slide, the proposition here is, and if you flip to the next slide, what we've done is take the best practices in nature where you have products that adapt to their environment instead of being a dumb device built by man and forced into the environment. So the blades are situated in such a way that they capture a lot of power in low wind, and as the wind speed picks up and the device begins moving faster, the profile changes to protect itself in the higher winds but keep producing power. The reason that's a competitive advantage on the next slide, you can see, and it's a lot of data here without builds, but in essence across the bottom of the slide is wind power in miles per hour, or wind speed in miles per hour. You look at the thin red line, that shows you the natural resource, the amount of typical distribution of wind in a Class 2 wind, which is available in 87% of the Earth's land mass. If you're a man-made device, you want to capture as much of the area underneath that red curve as possible. The number one provider in the wind space today, small wind, is the dark blue line. They've optimized their device for a thin slice of that wind speed chart because they do not adapt to their environment.
Okay.
And so what we're proposing is we can capture more power at low wind and keep producing power at the higher wind speeds. So we have a wider operating range.
Okay.
Who's interested in this? Well, we think farmers and ranchers. We've been talking to dealers and installers around the country. These farmers and ranchers have a resource that they're not able to take advantage of, and they would be interested in doing so. A different market would be telecom
cell towers, and water pump manufacturers. In that case, we would bundle our product with theirs and drop into their supply chain. If you look at the next slide, it gives you an idea of the business model. What we're thinking is, instead of heavily investing in fixed costs, we would be focused on the center of the supply chain, those blue elements in the middle, R&D, and as a wholesaler, assembly to ensure quality out the door. Upstream, there are plenty of parts, component manufacturers, contract manufacturers who can help. And downstream, there are a lot of local retailers, dealers, and installers, or we would go the strategic partner route in telecom and water pump. We could come out with a family of products. The middle one, for example, would be the first one going after rural residences and or these business strategic partners. MSRP is around 30. Incentives and rebates drop that in half, so it's 15 out of pocket. And they deliver 11,000 kilowatt hours of power out of this single device, where the competition delivers 2,000 or 4,500. So we're 2 to 3 times more productive of a device. On the next slide, you can see that the team is fairly experienced and balanced. With myself in strategic planning, we have somebody, the inventor in technology, and then we have another business partner who's in supply chain. We have some advisors we've been working with and some partners to help with the technical pieces of progressing product development. And so the next slide after this shows you that we have the inventor has a first generation product out in the marketplace already. It's a traditional horizontal access turbine. He set up shop overseas and has 300 of these units in 19 different countries in Southeast Asia. They do very well in these high wind, more remote locations. We built a new prototype, which you saw pictured on the first slide. We've done some market research. We filed a patent because we went through the Clean Tech Open National Business Competition and got a law firm to work with us. And now we are trying to optimize the design of the product and build another prototype. We have some angel investors interested, but they wanted to see field data from a unit in the field. So we are looking for funding. We're looking for about $250,000 right now to finish out that product development. And then the next slide after this sort of sums it all up and says that we think it's a disruptive technology, being different from what's available in the marketplace today. The market is large but reachable. The team currently is a balanced group of 3 of us, and we think pretty good financial propositions. The margins are 42%. Cost us about $11,000 to build a unit. We would double that and mark it up to 22, and then leave 25% markup for the retailers on top of that.
All right. So I guess your main question is around funding, right?
Correct. We've been out in a family and friends round. We raised about 50. We still need another 200 to get some of the virtual testing and then the development of a unit for the field and measurement of that.
So
Angel investors seem a little cautious to jump in.
I'll be very upfront with you. In 1M1M, we do not do much clean tech work at all. So I am not very familiar with the clean tech angel investment ecosystem. However, I do know that from the industry, I know that angel investment for unproven businesses is extremely, difficult. So a lot of clean tech innovators are using, SBIC research funding for doing the prototype development and proof of concept development. Have you looked into that?
We did apply for an SBIR through DOE, and we got turned down the first time around, so we've not been back to do that. We are currently negotiating an R&D deal with NREL, the National Renewable Energy Lab out here. They've not been interested in small wind, but there's a key retirement out there. So now it looks like they'll be able to do some research for us and give us access to some sophisticated software. But that's sort of a plan B. It's a slow route. It takes a year or more to get 3 months worth of work done out there because you're not paying for it.
It is a slow route. It is a slow route, and I will be very honest with you. This is not our area of expertise, and I do not have a lot of wisdom to add to the process on this front. I know what would happen if you were working in more in the IT domain, but this is not my area of expertise, so there's not a whole lot I can tell you.
Well, as you rub shoulders with those people, please share the idea.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. So folks, I will tell you a little bit about 1 million by 1 million, and if you decide that if you do fall in our area of expertise, which clean tech isn't one of them, but definitely information technology, technology-enabled services, and everything to do with the internet domain is within our area of expertise, we would be delighted to work with you, and I'll explain to you how we work with you, and today, based on today's session and what you have learned a little bit about 1M1M, if you have other questions, I'll be happy to answer them as well. Before we dive into that though, I would like to make a request to you. We are looking for serious entrepreneurs to work with in 1M1M. It's, our mission will only be successful if we can find the serious entrepreneurs who have the resilience and the, stomach for doing what it takes to building, big, successful businesses, sustainable businesses. It's a lot of work, and it's a very difficult path. Entrepreneurship, as I often say, is not for sissies. I'm sure people who are in the room today are not under any illusion that this is going to be a walk in the park, or as Steve Jobs says, it's not going to be a bowl of cherries. So this is tough. This is a tough road, and we are looking for people who have the mettle to be really serious, successful entrepreneurs. So here are the resources that we have pulled together within the 1M1M umbrella. The website is 1m1m.sramanamitra.com. You will find at the very basic level our blog at sramanamitra.com, where we supply as much case study-based coverage, as well as lots of trend analysis and lessons from the trenches, from thought leaders, and input from thought leaders, and so on and so forth on the blog. And all of that is 100% free. So feel free to romp around on the blog and look for things that you're looking for, and chances are you're going to find relevant information. Then we have the Entrepreneur Journeys book series, which is a collection. Each volume of Entrepreneur Journeys is a collection of case studies with analysis and synthesis of lessons learned. So there are 4 volumes that we've published so far, and throughout the Entrepreneur Journeys book series and the 1M1M methodology, you will see 2 core principles running through. One of them is bootstrapping. So building lean, capital-efficient startups that are bootstrapped primarily is one of the key methodologies of 1M1M and Entrepreneur Journeys. The second one is laser-sharp positioning. So we will spend a lot of time, focusing on how you position your company, how you segment the market, what segment do you go after, and so forth, because laser-sharp positioning is one of the key areas that you need to focus on to be successful, especially in a lean startup mode. By the way, all the books are available from Amazon and Kindle. The blog URL is sramanamitra.com. In addition, pretty much every Thursday, and this month we've had twice a week roundtables, actually, these free roundtables. This is our, 131st to 132nd session. Over 10,000 people have attended from all over the world. I think we are approaching about 1,000 entrepreneurs that have been on these roundtables. The numbers are slightly old, but we are here almost every Thursday coaching entrepreneurs, giving you feedback, giving you pointers on how you can address your issues. The premium program is taking all of the experience that we've gathered in running these sessions for over 130 sessions of coaching, and we've taken all the questions that have come up, and we have synthesized those into a really phenomenal curriculum which consists of case studies and video lectures. And the case studies span hundreds of successful entrepreneurs who have actually come and shared their lessons with you. And then I've gone in and synthesized their teachings and their methodologies into video lectures. So what you will find in the curriculum is a very tight and very efficient way to learn everything that you need to learn about entrepreneurship. Then we help you with business development, whether it's customer relationships, channel partner relationships, whether it's general business development, whatever helps you build your business. To the extent we have connections into the market, we will help you navigate those relationships. We will connect the dots, whatever dots we have in these markets, whatever connections we have in these markets, we will make those available to you as part of the 1M1M program. So you, by joining the 1M1M Premium program, you essentially join a club, the 1M1M Premium Club. And that gives you access to our network of customers, channel partners, investors, media, analysts, everything. And you get private members-only versions of these kinds of roundtables where we discuss your issues and give you further, strategy consulting. What we are doing is effectively here is a video conference-based strategy consulting session. So all that is available on an unlimited basis at this $1,000 annual membership fee. So here's a few more details about the program. There is a self-assessment. If you were to join the program, the first place I would send you to, and this is, you can go to the page right now. It's the 1M1M self-assessment page available on the 1M1M site. It's a 9-point questionnaire that takes you through the kinds of things that you need to assess or take the questions that you need to answer to calibrate yourself, pretty much from the perspective of customers, investors, channel partners, all the people that you need to access in your business development process. And by the way, we do not insist at all that you raise money. We are perfectly happy if you decide to self-finance your venture or build your business with customer money. That's all fine, and we will be happy to help you navigate your business through those challenges. Financing is optional. Our belief is entrepreneurship equals customers, revenues, and profits. Financing is optional. You can also find more information about the program on the top right corner. On the black bar, you see Premium Program FAQ, and you'll also find video messages there, video FAQs. All those are good places to help you further deepen your understanding of this program, the 1M1M Premium Program. Once again, the methodology is lean, capital efficient, bootstrap startups. So I actually like it when you come and tell me that you can turn $4.5 million into profitability. That's actually, for a hardware testing company, that's a very decent, capital structure. If you come and tell me that you're going to need $20 million out of the gate, I would raise my eyebrows and ask you to go back to the drawing board and find more capital efficient ways of building your business. The curriculum covers 7 core principles, and every entrepreneur needs to understand these principles. Those are bootstrapping, positioning, market sizing, customer validation, financing, customer acquisition, and team building. Every one of you will need to understand these topics in depth. So it'll take you probably, if you go through this curriculum, it'll take you about 50 hours to really fully digest what we've put together for you, and we strongly recommend that you budget those 50 hours to get through that material. In addition, we have a bunch of electives which are aligned to the trends in the industry where we are seeing tons of entrepreneurial activity. Web 3.2 and e-commerce is very big. There are going to be 5 billion people on the internet by 2020, so it's a huge opportunity for entrepreneurship internationally. Cloud computing is very big, and we saw a very interesting cloud computing business today, the software as a service business in pharmaceuticals. Then we have outsourcing and consulting that continues to be a vibrant area. Mobile and social apps is very active. Healthcare IT, actually the deal we saw today was at the cusp of healthcare IT and software as a service. Online education is very active. Gaming is very active. The other areas where we see a lot of activity are clean tech, semiconductor systems, but those are areas where the funding infrastructure is in deep trouble. So they're very difficult to finance at this point. The curriculum is delivered, as I said, in case studies and video lectures. And literally, this is not a curriculum that is taught only by me. Because we've invited so many successful entrepreneurs to come to the program and tell us what they've done with their businesses and how they've been successful, where, what strategies have worked for them, what has failed, you can literally look at this as if, over 500 entrepreneurs are teaching you their lessons from the trenches. It's a very, very powerful, both educational and extremely inspiring curriculum. So that's kind of our, program, and I think that gives you an overview of what we have to offer. Our next few free roundtables are June 28th is Boulder, Colorado. June 5th is a regular 1M1M Roundtables open to everybody. June 12th is Click Workspace in Massachusetts, Western Massachusetts. And July 19th is an ANN Media eLands contest. So this month we've had a series of contests, actually last 2 months we've had a series of contests which were finals of business plan competitions, or business competitions, not just plan, but competitions where various scholarships to the 1M1M program were awarded by various corporate partners. And there's one coming up on July 19th that is focused primarily on the United Kingdom. That's the ANN Media eLands contest. The co-host for that is King's College. So that's pretty much what I have to tell you about 1M1M. And if you have any questions, I'd be happy to take questions from the audience. Micah, maybe you can moderate the room. If you could come up to the speaker and spit out the questions from the audience. And in public chat also, you can ask questions, online audience.
Thank you, Sramana. Does anyone have questions right now? Please.
So to what extent does membership help with the fundraising?
Did you hear that?
No.
To what extent does membership with 1 million by 1 million help with fundraising?
Yes. 1M1M membership does help with fundraising, with the caveat that your business has to be fundable. Not all businesses are fundable. Over 99% of the companies that go out to raise funding actually do not succeed in raising money. Some of it is because they're too early, they go out to raise money too early, or they do not have enough market size. So there's a variety of parameters that apply to a fundable business. So our job is to help you understand those parameters and those metrics and quote unquote become fundable. And once your business is ready and fundable, we will introduce you to investors. Yes. So this is a very long answer to your question. Do we help with fundraising? The answer is yes. Having said that, not all businesses are fundable. Does that help?
Yeah.
Anybody else? No? All right. Well, yeah?
I think that's it. Thank you.
Okay. On the public chat in the audience, is there any question in the public chat? I see there's been an active discussion going on in the public chat about the businesses that we've been hearing from. So, folks, when the recording becomes available, you may want to look at it. All right, then we are ready to wrap up the session today. Thank you for attending. It was a pleasure getting a window into what's happening in Colorado, and we'll get more of that next week. We have a second session with Colorado that's going to be in Boulder. And we look forward to continuing to work more with the Denver-Boulder ecosystem and Colorado in general. And thank you, Micah and Vic and the Innovation Pavilion team for hosting the session. And we look forward to working with you again for the next week's session. Thank you all. Goodbye. Have a great week.